Hey guys, welcome to our second video on the Little Rippers YouTube channel. Now I know this channel has initially been set up for my son Josh and his best friend Zach to record some of their motocross adventures as they both start racing motocross and riding bikes and getting into the world of motocross across Northern Ireland. But I thought it might be helpful to post a small how-to video. As you know, these Husqvarna 50cc's and the KTM 50cc's, the sx50 and the new gas 50cc's all come from the same factory, and they all have more or less the same engine. Very highly tuned wee bikes, like absolute wee rocket ships, and because they're tuned so much they require a lot of maintenance. Now, prior to having this Husqvarna, we had a KTM Mini, which is basically more or less the same engine, except it has a smaller carburetor and a smaller swing arm and a smaller suspension, but basically the same engine. And the clutch in these wee bikes gets very hot whenever it's being worked, and when it's being worked hard, it gets really hot, and it boils up. So the oil on the clutch needs replaced almost after every ride. In fact, I do replace the oil after every ride. Now, in the manual, I think it says in the manual to replace it every sort of 2 to 3 hours. I replace it after every single ride, and it's just something that we've done. And in the Mini that we had beforehand, and we had it for 9 months, I never had to put a clutch in it. We've had this wee Husqvarna 50 to 2020 from June, and no problems at all with the clutch in it so far, simply because I change the oil after every ride. It just keeps the oil. The process for this literally takes 5 minutes, and I'm going to show you how to do that. But first of all, we've got to start the wee bike up. So it's very cold in here today, so start the wee bike up, and pedals on, chokes on. Should be starting to bother. I'm not try a wee dad trick lifting the back end up. Let this run for a wee while, and then try to work it to the end and heat up, and then we'll come back and we'll look at changing the oil, alright? Okay guys, the bike's been running there for about 5 minutes just on idle, just to heat the engine oil up. So now we'll change the engine oil, and I'm going to show you here just exactly what it is that we need to be able to change the oil on one of these wee bikes. I'll just turn this camera around. So first of all, we need a funnel to pour the oil in. We need a measuring cup to measure the oil. We need, and this is so important, we need a torque wrench with a 13mm socket on it. Now, I learnt the hard way about needing a torque wrench and torquing bolts correctly. I used to have a KTM 250, and I remember just tightening everything by hand, and some of the screws on the oil filter, I just tightened by hand, tightened them slightly too much. Next thing you know, the bolts were just spinning and the things wouldn't tighten, and I had to go and retap the aluminium, because they are just aluminium casings, so they are very soft. So everything I do now is always torqued, and the torque settings for the oil drain plug on these wee bikes is only 20 Newton meters, which is, I don't know if you can see that, which is exactly what I have that set at. So it's set at there at all. Then we have our oil. Don't scrimp on oil. Do not go to the local car dealers or car auto repair shop and buy cheap oil. It needs to be Dexron 3, and it needs to be of a reputable brand, specifically made for these wee bikes. Now, the manual recommends Motorex. So it's either Motorex I would stick in, or it's usually this Putoline stuff, which I found to be a very good oil. As I say, it's never in the bike for very long, but don't scrimp on the oil. My local dealer told me that he sells approximately 3 clutches for these wee bikes every week. And the clutch for these wee bikes is about £600, 600 quid. And they're selling 3 a week. Now, I checked while the engine was running there, I double checked the manual. The manual actually says to change the clutch oil every 10 hours. Now, to me, that is just far too much. My boy rides that for a day, maybe puts an hour and a half on it, and as soon as it comes back and before it goes back out again, I change the oil. Now, what I will show you is when these bikes are standard, they take 200 milliliters of oil. I bought a slightly larger clutch cover casing, so it's slightly wider there, which the manual for it says it holds 320 mils of oil rather than the standard 200 mils. But if I put 320 milliliters into it, some oil starts to come out the overflow pipe, so I always just pour in 300 milliliters. But if your bike is standard, without a standard case, without an oversized casing on it, it will just be 200 milliliters of oil going into it. So now we'll go on ahead and we'll change the oil. First things first is to remove the oil filler cap, which is down in here. Unscrew that, which gives us, allows the oil to drain a wee bit quicker. And then we come along. Now I have an old milk bottle or an old bottle here that we use for catching oil. It just sort of sits under there, and that'll catch all the oil as it dribbles out. So I have a wee bling. I actually ordered a blue Husky plug, but they sent me an orange one by mistake, so that's actually one off a KTM that's in there, but that needs to come out with the 13mm socket. So we will go on ahead here and pop this out. There we go. That's it loosened up, and take it off with our fingers. There we go. Oil coming out. Look at the colour of it, and that's only after one ride. I show you that. Like, it's pure black. Pure black. After only one ride, it was changed last week. So what we do then is we grab a wee bit of a rag. We make sure that this drain plug here is very, very clean before we put it back in. These are magnetic, so any wee shavings, any bits of metal from inside the engine will all stick to this. So I give it a wipe down with a rag first and foremost, and then I should have some contact cleaner here. You give it a spray with a wee drop of contact cleaner just to make sure it's all completely cleaned, and then just tilt the bike to the side just to make sure we get all the oil out. That's it. Oil drained out. Then to put this back in, I'll always start it with my fingers. Started. These bikes are so small, so hard to fit your fingers into. It's like, you ever see the size of the piston on one of these bikes? It's actually, I would call it cute. It's that small. I changed the piston last week, so we have a finger tight. So then the manual calls for 20 Newton meters. So we put this to 20 Newton meters, which is not very much at all. Alright. There we go, that was it, 20 Newton meters. Hardly tightened at all. Listen, this is quite a large torque wrench. You can buy torque wrenches for thousands of pounds. I bought this one off Amazon for about 30 quid. It's a Silverline. Silverline, yep, it does absolutely everything that I needed to do with regards to bikes. There's nothing fancy about it. You just turn it until it clicks and that's it. So that's it, tightened up to 20 Newton meters. So now, as I said earlier, well, the bikes are standard. They take 200 ml of oil with the extra clutch casing on it. It's supposed to take 320, but I find if I put 320 in it comes out the overflow pipe. So we'll clean out this jug and we will pour in 300 ml of oil. There we go. 300 ml of oil. See how pink that oil is? And did you see how black it was coming out? And that was just under last week. We're going to lift our funnel and our oil. Take it round and just pour it in. Give the engine a wee start. Just check, make sure everything's tight, make sure there's no oil leaking out the bottom. And that's it, ready to go for another session. And kid goes out, does another session. My wee boy's out riding tomorrow. So after that session, and before he goes out again next week, the oil will be changed again. Just keep changing the oil and it'll look after the clutch. It'll keep that clutch nice and cool. And you're not having to be forking out 600, 500 pound or whatever it may be to buy a new clutch. And everything that goes with it, which is the hassle of having no bike for your kid to ride and the bike being away or you having to do it yourself and the kid not getting out. But listen, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We have a few subscribers, we have 8 I think, and my 6-year-old kid is over the moon that he has 8 subscribers. So I'd love to see that build up, because for every subscriber, every time I come home from work, he's going, do we have any more subscribers, Daddy? Do we have any more subscribers? So I would love to see him get some more subscribers. So if you could hit subscribe, that would be brilliant. Thank you very much, guys. And we will post another video this weekend of Josh and Zach out together, out riding in some deep sand. It's winter over here in Ireland. No hard pack tracks are open. It just rains all the time. So the only tracks that are open are the sand tracks. So we will be riding sand from now until the spring, which is great practice. I've actually stuck a sand tire on the back of his wee bike. So it was only stuck on, well, I didn't stick it on, my friend Davey stuck it on. Much appreciated, and very much thank you to Davey Mulligan for sticking it on. If I had had to stick a tire on, my temper probably wouldn't have lasted very long. I have enough problems with a bicycle wheel, never mind one of these things. But it'll be Josh's first time riding with a sand tire, so we'll see if that helps him in the deep sand this weekend. Thanks for watching, guys. Please hit subscribe, and you have a great and blessed weekend. Thank you.